Honorable Batohi. Are you asking the follow-up, or are you forfeiting the opportunity?
Mine is, Advocate, you said there were prosecutors between you and Honorable Breitenberg that know who aided state capture. We don't have their names. Can we have them, please? And some of them are currently in DCs, etc. I don't know.
It is very difficult, again, because as a matter of policy in the NPA, when there are disciplinary processes, we do not make any public statements about them. And even though in this case one might argue that the names have been bandied around in public, I don't want to fall foul of our own policy and mention names in this forum, because that is the policy of the NPA. But the names have certainly been mentioned in public in this instance, many of the names.
So we're going to have the same situation as we have earlier. I guess it's something we can discuss when we take the name of the prosecutor that has been investigated. I guess you're going to say the same thing about the politicians who you said you know who were involved in Vusi Pekole's prosecution or withdrawal of charges, his case. That was also a conversation.
He was suspended by the president and the ministers at the ministers.
So you're saying it was the president and the ministers that interfered with the case?
All I said is there was involvement of politicians, because they of necessity suspended him.
The other one, my other question, which was already answered by asked, was the Scorpions versus IDEC question. It was already asked, but in the same breath, the Scorpions was weaponized against factions in amongst politicians, amongst rivals, etc. And that was partly why it was disbanded. I mean, I think that is also a fact. So the fact that we have an introduction of IDEC, it's to serve the same purpose, to serve a faction in the political space. What would you say to that?
With all due respect, Honorable Mateus, I'd say before we say it's a fact, we should have the evidence.
So why do you think the Scorpions...
If I have the evidence, then I might agree with you that it's a fact, but I don't have that evidence.
So when the Scorpions... Okay, let's leave it. It's fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we take Honorable James?
Thank you so much, Chair. Advocate Mart almost skipped a beat earlier on when I heard you saying that NPA works very well with SAPS. Maybe if you had said, you know, we work fairly well, but the fact that you say you work very well with SAPS, maybe SAPS in the rest of the country and not in South Gauteng. I want to ask you, was NPA part of the counterintelligence task team?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know. We sit on a number of structures, but whether we're on a counterintelligence structure, I'm not aware that we are.
Because I think with all these task teams
I'd be surprised if, sorry to interrupt, Honorable James, I would be surprised if we sit on an intelligence structure, but I must confirm that.
I'm just asking because we were told by previous witnesses that the composition of these task teams would obviously also have a component of NPA. So they would sort of work hand in glove. So you're saying that NPA was not part of counterintelligence. I'm trying to understand General Mkonazi's allegations that there are loopholes and cases were being struck off the roll. You said earlier on we need to follow the money. I'm trying to follow the money with this. And you said that NPA works well with SAPS. Why was the frustration specifically with counterintelligence that was investigating these drug cartels?
Honorable James, I'm not sure what the context of this is, and I'm not aware that we sit on counterintelligence structures. So I need to get that information first before I can understand what the frustration might have been there. But there are so many structures, and when I say we work very well with the police, I I mean that they are our closest partner in terms of fighting corruption. And so at different levels, from national through to provincial, district level, local level, there are partnerships and relationships that are critical. They work at different levels of effectiveness, but we generally have good working relationships with the police. It isn't always as effective as we would like it to. So that was the point I was trying to make. But on your counterintelligence, I will have to get information about which structure exactly and whether we sit on that.
I want to disagree with you there because I know of dozens of drug-related cases that were struck off the court roll, specifically in the Gauteng area. And I'd actually like to forward you all those dockets because whenever we have these operations, especially in Gauteng, and I'm especially referred to El Dorado Park, we almost have to beg the courts to basically place those cases on the court roll. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it for my questioning. I'm just going to leave it there for now.
Well, Chair, if I could quickly respond to that, because it's an important issue that you raise, and if there are dozens of cases that are being withdrawn, we do need it to be brought to our attention. We have now put in place in the NPA, we are asking for reasons from prosecutors for every corruption case that's withdrawn. There must be reasons, and for withdrawal of sexual and gender-based violence matters, we're asking for reasons to be submitted so we can check to see what is going on. But if members find this as a problem, I would urge members to please bring it to my attention so that we could look into these matters and deal with any errant prosecutors or investigators as appropriate. Thank you, Chair.
The last person is Honorable Skosan.
Thank you, Chair.
The list is closed.
I've got 3 follow-ups. One, Honorable Brechenbeck asked you about the political interference. What's your view on that, about Advocate Piccoli? I wanted to get your answer clearly. What was your response?
My response was that he was suspended by the President, I assume at the recommendation of the Minister, and to that extent, there were politicians involved. I didn't say there was political interference. I stand to be corrected, but there was involvement of politicians because that is the way it works.
No, but you did not respond like that, but it's fine. Because she was very specific. Hence, I wanted to find out a clarity on you on that. But let me just say to you, if you don't believe that, I think you have McCarthy and Bulelani Nguga. He can attest to that if you want reference. The issue of the scorpions, that they were targeting people, is a fact. And when it comes to the IDEC, it's like now it's in a different name. And hence my Honorable James said he will forward you the issue of Gauteng in particular about these drugs issues, cases being withdrawn. Some of us were experienced about that. We are very experienced about that. I mean, we open cases, your prosecutors decline them. You know, they in other words, there's a smear campaign. Somebody must go to court several times before the matter is withdrawn or the matter is thrown out. Now, by that time, your character is gone. The perception is everything, especially with politicians. What they do, these factions, when they target advocate, like my colleague has said earlier, especially Honorable Mvalo, especially towards the elections, there's an arrest before investigation. They investigate a person after he was arrested. For the next 5, 6, 7 years, they are saying they are busy with investigation. Why arrest people before investigation? Because they want to destroy you. Now, we are saying because we are living, as you said, in January, other issues maybe are going to be attended by the incoming NDPP, which is unfortunate. But in my view, I'm saying to you, please, in the period which you are still in the office, can you please ask them to treat people fairly? But I'm going to have my question. You'll understand where I'm coming from. To say the rate which you were explaining here to say you've got 81% success, we'll debate that later. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, if I may, though, there's been a number of comments that have been made, and I would like to quickly respond to them, because it is important that the correct messaging gets out to the public. Firstly, Honorable Skusana said it was a fact that the Scorpions were targeting. Again, as I responded, I would like to get evidence of that so that we can understand exactly what these facts are based on, and then I can comment on that, and then saying that the IDAC is doing the same. And Chair, I worry that the IDAC has been put together to deal with corruption in this country. I accept that it's a baby. It's still we've just given birth to it. And it seems like we're already having these conversations about targeting, and whether my concerns are that as a country we want to fight corruption, and that if we try to raise these kinds of issues relating to the IDAC without any substance, and if there are substance and facts, please, I will urge the department to get the investigating judge put in place as soon as possible, because this is the one instrument we have in this country to deal with the scourge of corruption. We need to strengthen it and not weaken it. So I urge that we get facts on that, please, Chair. On the drugs, Honorable Skusana, that's an important issue. If you please, again, please give us that information, because we need to understand exactly what the facts are so that we can properly investigate it and deal with it in the way that results in consequences after a good investigation. And the final comment that Honorable Skusana made was that arrest before investigations, particularly when it comes to election time. Again, please, Honorable Skusana, if you could write to me, send me the facts of these cases, where it's happened, and I give you my assurance that I will look into that and make sure that whatever decisions have been taken correctly, and if not, there will be consequences. But we do need the facts of these matters. Thank you, Chair.
Thank